Every year, it feels like this is going to be the year the Oklahoma Sooners are going to right the ship under Brent Venables and return to winning ways once again. Yet every year, they are unable to live up to the expectations and just seemingly let the fan base down. During the 4-team playoff era under Lincoln Riley, they made the college football playoffs 3 straight years and made it a 4th time under head coach Bob Stoops in 2015. They were seemingly running away from rival Texas, who was struggling throughout the 2010s, looked like they were going to be dominant for the years to come. Then, Lincoln Riley shocked the world when he left to take the USC job, and they saw a lot of their roster leave through the transfer portal. Brent Venables struggled in year 1, but brought hope back to the program in year 2, before a really rough year 3. Heading into their 2nd year in the SEC, things feel different and special for Oklahoma. Can they make a run at the college football playoffs? Will they be looking for a new head coach by year's end? But before we get into this, if you enjoy college football content like this, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Also, let me know how well you think Oklahoma will do this year in the comment section below. Oklahoma is one of the greatest college football programs historically, and since I was born, they have only had 3 different head coaches. Bob Stoops was named head coach in 1999, the year I was born, and just calmly put together a 190-48 record from 1999 to 2016, winning 10 Big 12 conference titles, 9 bowl games, making 2 national title games, and winning 1 national title, and never having a losing season while at Oklahoma. His worst season was his first season when they went 7-5, and they had 14 double-digit winning seasons in 18 years with him at the helm. The Oklahoma program exuded excellence that continued even after Stoops retired following the 2016 season. The College Football Hall of Fame head coach would be replaced by Lincoln Riley. Riley was a young, up-and-coming head coach who adopted one of the top programs in the nation at the ripe age of 34 years old. He played college football at Texas Tech, where he was a walk-on and served as a backup behind Cliff Kingsbury and B.J. Simmons. Following 1 season, he would move into a student assistant role under Mike Leach for the 2003 season and would become a grad assistant in 2007. He would serve as Texas Tech's wide receivers coach from 2007 to 2009, or being hired by East Carolina to serve as their offensive coordinator and quarterback coach under Ruffin McNeil's staff. While on the ECU staff, the Pirates go 37-27, and Riley would be named associate head coach in 2014. Riley would be hired by Stoops in 2015 and help the Sooners make it to the 2015 college football playoffs, where they would lose to Clemson in the Orange Bowl. Riley won the Broyles Award, which goes to the top assistant in the nation, and would take over as Oklahoma's head coach in 2017. Led by Baker Mayfield at quarterback, the 2017 Oklahoma Sooners were iconic and one of the most fun teams to watch. They had one of the most explosive offenses in the nation, averaging 45.1 points per game, and Mayfield would go on to win the Heisman Trophy. In Week 2 of the season, the Sooners would beat number 2 Ohio State in the shoe, and Mayfield would famously plant the Oklahoma flag after the game. Their lone regular season loss would be against Iowa State, and they would win shootouts against Kansas State and Oklahoma State. They would blow out TCU in the Big 12 title game, would lose to Georgia in the Rose Bowl, the first round of the college football playoffs, 54-48 in a double overtime thriller. Led by Kyler Murray in 2018, Oklahoma would win the Big 12 once again, avenging their loss to Texas in Red River, beating the Longhorns 39-27 in the championship game. Murray would win the Heisman Trophy, but the Sooners would fall to Alabama in the first round of the college football playoffs, 45-34. Oklahoma would win their 3rd straight Big 12 title in 2019, led by Heisman finalist Jalen Hurts, but would be dismantled by LSU in the first round of the playoffs, 63-28. 2020 would be the worst season under Riley up to that point, as they struggled out of the gates, going 1-2, losing to Kansas State and Iowa State in back-to-back weeks in heartbreaking fashion. It would end the year on an 8-game win streak, getting revenge on number 8 Iowa State in the Big 12 title game, and crushing Florida in the Cotton Bowl 55-20. It was the first time under Riley that the Sooners did not make the college football playoffs. While Oklahoma would start the 2021 season 9-0, things were not all peachy down in Norman. The Sooners fan base called for the benching of a struggling Spencer Rattler at quarterback, as they wanted to see what star recruit Caleb Williams could do. Williams would make highlight play after highlight play, but they would fall to Baylor 27-14. They would rebound with a win over Iowa State, but as Bedlam approached, rumors started coming to light that Riley may be leaving Oklahoma to become the next head coach of LSU. The LSU job had come open after the Tigers fired Ed Ogeron. The rumors heated up so much so in the lead up to the Oklahoma State game that some could say it was a distraction for the team. The Sooners would fall to the Cowboys 37-33, crushing any of their hopes of making it 5 straight Big 12 titles, making it back to the college football playoffs. LSU reporters even traveled to Stillwater to cover the game and talked to Riley after the game. During the post-game press conference, one reporter asked if he had any interest in the LSU job. Riley's answer seemingly calmed down the fan base as he said, "No, I'm not going to be the next head coach at LSU." Riley seemed almost angered by this question. The reporter asked Riley a follow-up question about the future of Oklahoma's administration, which he replied, "No concerns about our administration, our AD, our president. We've been through a lot together. This isn't our first rodeo together. So we always have conversations about the future, and certainly with all that's changing right now on the college landscape, all that's getting ready to change. For us at some point here, we transition into a new conference. Those are always conversations that we're going to have, and we will be having those yearly no matter what. All of us are trying to make this place better, make this program better, and so you don't do that without working together and conversing with each other. So of course we're continuing to do that. We work well together, and we're going to keep working well together." Though just hours later, news broke that Lincoln Riley was the new head coach at USC. He claimed it happened after Bedlam. With how fast things came to be, it almost felt like it was already in the works. This not only left Oklahoma fans shocked, but left the whole college football world shocked. Many thought Riley was running away from Oklahoma to avoid the SEC move, but then USC would announce they were moving to the Big Ten. Caleb Williams, Mario Williams, and Latrell McCutcheon, among others, followed Riley to USC, as well as a handful of other players from his recruiting class at Oklahoma. The early signing period quickly approaching, Oklahoma needed to find their next head coach. Names linked to the Oklahoma job included Brent Venables, Shane Beamer, Dave Aranda, Matt Campbell, and Mark Stoops. The job eventually went to Brent Venables, and Bob Stoops would come out of retirement to coach the Sooners in their Alamo Bowl win over Oregon. Oklahoma would bring in Dylan Gabriel to replace Caleb Williams. While Lincoln Riley found so much success at Oklahoma, one of the things that held him back was his struggles on defense. Venables was a defensive mastermind who won multiple national titles, serving as Dabo Swinney's defensive coordinator at Clemson, and was previously on Bob Stoops' national title-winning staff. Many expected the defense to improve greatly. With the turmoil the program was in, following the mass departure of players from the coaching change, no one was expecting the Sooners to compete for a national title, but many expected them to at least be competitive. It would start the season off 3-0 with wins over UTEP, Kent State, and a blowout win over Nebraska on the road. They were scoring an average of 42.3 points per game, while holding teams to 10 points per game. Into their game against Kansas State, they were sitting at number 6 in the polls, but their defense would collapse, allowing 41 points to the Wildcats in a 41-31 loss. They followed that up with a 55-24 loss to TCU. They hit rock bottom when they played Texas in Red River, a game I was actually at. This game throughout my life has always been a close, fun game to watch, usually consisting of a lot of fireworks. Not in 2022, as Texas dominated the Sooners 49-0. Over their 3-game losing streak, they allowed 48.3 points per game. They would beat number 19 Kansas 52-42 and Iowa State 27-13, proceeded to lose to Baylor in West Virginia. They would get their revenge against Oklahoma State in Bedlam 28-13, but finished the regular season with a 51-48 loss to Texas Tech, to enter their bowl game sitting at 6-6. They would be matched up against number 13 Florida State, who would fall to the Seminoles 35-32. CBS Sports wrote, Venables faced a difficult situation taking over for Lincoln Riley, but the lows were still shocking. The Sooners posted a losing record and finished with a losing conference mark, 3-6, for the first time since 1998, the year before the Bob Stoops era began. Oklahoma lost 49-0 against rival Texas, while Venables' signature defense ranked 123rd. The bar is high in Oklahoma, and 2022 wasn't even in the same stratosphere. After the Cheez-It Bowl loss, Venables told the media they invested a tremendous amount. It should hurt. That's never going to be acceptable. But at the same time, you have no regrets when you put everything you've got into it. And that's what this football team did. Proud of the players and all their hard work and their perseverance and just fighting till the end. I'm proud of the coaches too. Were there plenty of mistakes? Absolutely. We'll have to, look at those once we get out of the season as well. But what I saw tonight was what I saw the last 3 weeks. I'm proud of these guys for that. Venables would be graded an F by CBS Sports in his first season leading the Sooners, while while they watched Caleb Williams win the Heisman and Lincoln Riley go 11-3 and make it to the Pac-12 title game and a New Year's Six bowl game. It had to be extremely painful for Oklahoma fans. People were already talking about Venables being on the hot seat after one season. Year 2 had to be a strong year, and it would be Oklahoma's last dance in the Big 12. Many hoped to compete for a conference title. Dillon Gabriel returned, and the Sooners would get off to a dominant start. They entered the season as the 20th best team in the nation, would open up with a 73-0 win over Arkansas State. They beat SMU and destroyed Tulsa to close out non-conference play. They traveled to Cincinnati to open up Big 12 play, won 20-6, and then destroyed Iowa State at home 50-20 to set up a top 12 matchup against number 3 Texas. In a thrilling game, Oklahoma would get revenge, beating the Longhorns 34-30, and they would rise as high as number 6 in the polls and beat UCF 31-29, or losing back-to-back games to Kansas and Oklahoma State on the road, both one-score games. They closed out the regular season with a 59-20 win over West Virginia, 31-24 win over BYU, and a 69-45 win over TCU to finish the regular season 10-2. The defense saw major improvements, finishing number 80 in yards allowed, number 99 in passing yards allowed, number 57 in rush defense, and number 41 in scoring defense. But it was not what fans expected when they brought in Venables. According to the end-of-season SP Plus rankings, the Sooners finished number 10 in offense, number 70 in defense, and number 20 overall in 2022. In 2023, they finished number 6 in offense, number 33 in defense, and number 13 overall. They would take on Arizona in the Alamo Bowl, where Jackson Arnold would get fans excited for the future in their loss. Following the season, Dillon Gabriel would transfer to Oregon, and it looked like Arnold's team. Heading to the 2024 season, their first year as a member of the SEC, Oklahoma was projected to finish tied for 5th according to Phil Steele. They came into the season as Steele's 20th best team in the nation and had the 27th hardest schedule. According to ESPN's SP Plus, they had the 3rd hardest schedule in the nation. They had a brutal SEC slate taking on Texas, Alabama, Ole Miss, and LSU. They also had 3 true SEC home games hosting Tennessee and Alabama, but needing to travel on the road to take on Auburn, Ole Miss, Missouri, and LSU. With Gabriel gone, they relied on Arnold, Casey Thompson, and true freshman Michael Hawkins. They brought in offense coordinator Seth Luttrell after Jeff Lebby left to become the head coach at Mississippi State. The Sooners would open up the season with a dominant win over Temple before surviving against Houston and beating Tulane to set up a top 15 matchup against number 6 Tennessee for the game of the week. A game where the Sooners would fall 25-15. They would get their first SEC win on the road the following week, beating Auburn 27-21, or going on a 3-game skid being blown out by number 1 Texas, South Carolina, and Ole Miss as they dealt with a rotating quarterback room between Arnold and Hawkins. They would beat Maine 59-14 before losing to Missouri on the road 30-23. When number 7 Alabama came to town, many expected the Crimson Tide to roll, crushing the Sooners, but instead, Oklahoma would be the one rolling the Tide, beating them 24-3, giving life to the program to move their record to 6-5 on the season. They would unfortunately close out the regular season with the road loss to LSU and a bowl loss to Navy 21-20. Arnold finished the season throwing for 1,421 yards, 12 touchdowns and 3 interceptions, while rushing for 444 yards and 3 touchdowns on the ground, while Hawkins threw for 783 yards, 3 touchdowns and 2 interceptions, while rushing for 204 yards on the ground. While Oklahoma struggled in year 1 of the SEC play, they watched as Texas played in the SEC title game, made it to the semifinals of the college football playoffs last year for the 2nd straight year. Arnold did not play great and would enter the transfer portal following the season. Venables would speak on the importance of the position, saying, "If you want a chance to get into the playoffs and have a chance to be able to compete at the top of the SEC, you got to have elite quarterback play. It can't just be good, it's got to be elite." There are also misfires when hiring staff members. Missing out on Jim Knowles, who ended up at Penn State, led to Brent calling defensive plays last year, and they also fired Seth Luttrell midway through the season, meaning both coordinators were major misses. Heading into the 2025 season, though, Venables hoped he hit a home run on his offense coordinator hire, bringing in 29-year-old wonder kid Ben Arbuckle from Washington State, who coached Cam Ward and John Mateer. Mateer would follow Arbuckle to Oklahoma as well, counting for 44 total touchdowns last year for the Cougars. While Oklahoma's defense ranked in the top 25 last season, the offense was dreadfully impotent, ranking 124th in yards per play, as they dealt with injuries all year long. The Sooners toiled behind one of the least productive schemes in the country during former Sooner fullback Seth Luttrell's first and only season as coordinator. Heading into year 4, under Venables, it is do or die for Oklahoma. A 22-17 record with a 12-14 conference record does not meet expectations in Norman, especially when there are 2 6-7 losing seasons in 3 years. The 10-win season brought hope, but they will need to perform better this year. CBS gave its 3 years so far in Norman a C grade. Heading to the 2025 season, Phil Steele projects Oklahoma to finish 4th in the SEC, as he loves their defense heading into the season, believes their offense will be vastly improved. Along with Mateer, they brought in Jaden Ott from California. Their offensive line and wide receivers should also see major improvements. Arbuckle's offense at Washington State averaged 36.6 points per game and 6.6 yards per play, both ranked in the top 10 nationally. Arbuckle, whose quick rise started at Houston Baptist and hit on all cylinders at Western Kentucky after a few years under mentor Zach Kittley, might be the hottest name in the industry. His pass offense is ranked in the top 5 nationally in 2 of the 3 seasons as an OC. The offense will need to be good this year as their schedule once again is brutal. At a conference, they host Michigan and travel to South Carolina, Tennessee, and Alabama this year. They also have a bye before the Bama game. They host Auburn, Ole Miss, Missouri, and LSU, and play Texas in the Cotton Bowl Stadium. Their 3 other out-of-conference games are Illinois State, on the road at Temple, and Kent State. I believe that Michigan could be a major early season game. The Sooners lose. Could the seat under Brent Venables be burning up by that time? But if they win, could that silence all the doubters? I think this season could be special for Oklahoma, and I loved the Brent Venables hire at the time. Hopefully the Sooners can perform this year. What do you think? Who's Oklahoma's head coach this time next season? Let me know in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out my other videos YouTube thinks you will love right here. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, remember to embrace the grind.